Homegrown rap music from Indonesia was almost unheard of outside of the country until early 2016, when a young rapper from Jakarta called Chigga released the track Dat Dollar Tik on YouTube. The clip was viewed tens of millions of times and caught the attention of superstars of the genre, including Wu-Tang Clan's Ghostface Killah. Banned in China, why some of music's top stars are blacklisted by Beijing. Chigga's outlandishly dark and profanity-laced track, referencing the drill trap subgenre of rap, featured the artist wearing a pink polo shirt and a fanny pack, dousing the streets with a bottle of Martell cognac. He was only 16 at the time. His fame quickly grew after teaming up with 88 Rising, a US-based collective that promotes Asian artists to a global audience. Chigga, who was born Brian Emmanuel, recently changed his controversial stage name and now simply goes by the name Brian. Back in his hometown, Jakarta, Brian's peers are still baffled by his breakout success. He built a modest following on social media, mostly with comedy clips, but hadn't had a large impact on the local hip-hop scene before releasing Dat Dollar Tik. Now, many Indonesian rappers are looking to him for inspiration, leading to a renaissance in the country's hip-hop scene. One of them is Ramengful, a Jakarta-based artist who has released several tracks with a collective named Underground Business Club, UBC. Her first hit, I'm Darman, was released in 2017. She says Brian is an icon for the up-and-coming hip-hop generation in Indonesia. This might sound cheesy coming from me, but Brian disrupted the hip-hop scene. He is my definition of local pride. Brian's rise to international fame also impresses Indonesia's older generation of hip-hop artists and fans. In some ways, it has led to a rejuvenation of the sound, encouraging feuding cliques to collaborate and be more daring and experiment across genres. Joria, aka Bung Jaa, a revered figure in rap communities across Indonesia, has organized events and managed artists since the turn of the millennium. He says Brian and his generation have successfully harnessed the power of the internet and leveraged the technology to achieve a larger impact. I respect the new school's ability to dig deep in the internet to find inspiration and experiment with their music. Their ability to rap in English is also a huge advantage for them, he says. Hip-hop in China bounces back as new show gives next-gen rappers mainstream appeal. Despite censorship, however, life wasn't this easy for the initiators of hip-hop in Indonesia decades ago. In Jakarta and its surroundings, now a clogged urban sprawl of 30 million inhabitants plagued by environmental and social challenges, a small but vibrant hip-hop scene began to grow in the 1990s, inspired by the music coming out of the US. Joria looks back at the era fondly, saying the struggle of rappers at the time made the scene special. The original artists back in my day would spend more effort to get their flow. Since rap albums didn't include lyrics, the rappers would loop tapes repeatedly to get the lyrics written down. They would hack power lines and steal electricity to set up a stage and perform at underground shows, he reminisces. These early Indonesian rappers copied elements of the hip-hop coming out of the US. The music was representative of the struggles of those people at the time, the people of color living under the poverty line in America, the baggy attire, the diss tracks, the old-school flow. Joria says, I was always inspired by my friends in the scene and I call my family, people like Blackamoo, IWAK, and Boys Got No Brain. They have always kept it real with their messages in rap, whether they talk about social justice, or keep people who disrespect them in check, and I respect that. The downside of this culture, Joria says, is that artists in the community can take things personally. Unfortunately, these diss tracks sometimes get nasty. Some feelings get hurt. But that is rap music. Dissing and being dissed back at is like a street fight. It's part of the art. Headbangers in hijabs. Inside Indonesia's heavy metal scene, there are some intense rivalries between some rappers of the new school and the older generation. Young Lex, a rapper from the 01 hip-hop collective, once infamously dissed old-school artist IWAK in a media statement, saying that IWA is famous not because of his skills, but because of the hip-hop hype in the early 2000s. That inspired IWAK, along with rappers Seiko G, Jerry Zakala and others to make diss tracks about Young Lex and the new school, mocking Young Lex's condescending attitude and attire. Although the new school artists sometimes come from wealthier backgrounds, they need to respect the original artists who had to hustle to build the scene, says Joria. But I think the new school is way ahead when it comes to learning English and recording technology. They are also more willing to improvise, explore their flow and collaborate to make beats. I respect their knowledge in building a brand using their self-taught social media marketing skills, and I think the old-school artists need to take a page out of their book. Ram Engvall admits that she at first doubted her ability to make a career out of hip-hop because she didn't fit into the mold of the struggling artist. I have a conservative corporate family background, and my life experiences are far from what you would normally associate with the rappers, she says. She has found a solution by not explicitly labeling herself a rapper, and expressing herself in a variety of genres, a stance which is more common these days. Brian Emanuel has also landed some cross-genre collaborations, such as the track he recorded with versatile American producer DJ Diplo. Ram Engvall herself has recorded the single Decide with Indonesian electronic dance music producer and DJ Diffa Baris, along with fellow rappers Mata Moss and A. Nyaka. The largest EDM festival in Asia, how Indonesia's Jakarta warehouse project just keeps growing. The audience in this day and age just wants to party. They want music to get lit and turn up, she says. Balancing this demand with her own aspirations can be challenging. I don't want to be seen as the rapper who only makes party songs with an affinity for cliché hip-hop stuff, like drugs, money, and sex. For her latest single, Go, she collaborated with Dutch DJ and producer Jaro Vandal on a quirky track about Indonesia's ride-hailing startup Gojek, a competitor to the US company Uber, which brought a new type of mobility to Indonesian cities. Meanwhile, Joria says that behind the beefs and differences in style is a community that supports each other. The local media only write headlines that sensationalize these artists feuding when they haven't heard the whole story. They haven't heard about Jerry Zakhala protecting young Lexus business endeavors. They haven't heard about the exchange of knowledge between the old school and the new school. Joria has been an event organizer, artist manager and community peacekeeper of sorts ever since 2002 when he organized Domination, a meetup of Indonesian rappers, tattoo artists and graffiti artists in Jakarta. In 2016, he came up with the idea to ask feuding rappers to perform together, which led to the birth of hip-hop event series Represent Jakarta. Under the motto, "In the name of the city, we represent Jakarta," the events brought together artists such as rap groups Neo and Boys Got No Brain, old-school female rapper Yako, DJ Ethnic, and Ram Engvall. Joria thinks Indonesian hip-hop at its core should be peaceful. He wants to avoid things heating up to the point where rappers go up against each other based on which region of the archipelago they're from, or their economic background. Chengdu rap crew hire brothers show off their illicit beats and rhymes. I want rappers to know that the fighting needs to only be on the mic. I don't want the media to sensationalize rap in the headlines. I want people to know that rap is something much deeper, a community with stories, he says. I just wish the new school would make more hip-hop music in Indonesian or their native dialects so Indonesian hip-hop can emphasize its uniqueness.